Alright, this is going to be the winning trade on Euro JPY on December 8th during New York session. Thursday, December 8th during New York session. This trade's been watched for a while, so basically, let's get to the breakdown. So we had this obvious daily bull trend, and price had just taken out this low, manipulated it, and reversed. I was thinking price could come down much lower and tap into these levels, the 39.50, a 139.50 level somewhere down here, but I wasn't too sure because it reversed aggressively. Coming down here onto the 4-hour, we saw this reversal and then it started the bullish momentum / bullish trend. So I changed my bias to short-term bullish. So, or 4-hour bullish, because we have this higher, this aggressive higher high, and then we made this other higher high here, right here. So the sponsor area of that was where I was looking to kind of trade from, and in this range. So it's really this 4-hour range, but it's easier seen on the hourly. You have this supply area and this demand area in battle, and we're just taking trades in between that. So going down to the 30-minute, we saw it come into this 4-hour point of interest area. We saw it break structure, manipulate these lows, and break structure again. And this was during Asia session. We tried to get in this area, but we didn't get any entries. We didn't get a good retracement on the lower time frames. So then what I saw was this Asia and early London kind of created liquidity that above this 30-minute key area that sponsored not only the break of this key area here, the major resistance, it broke above it, but it also took the liquidity and it created some kind of imbalance, which we'll look at on the lower time frames. So coming into this area, it was really unmitigated. This candle, this drawing here doesn't do it the best justice. The open, it really wasn't mitigated. This low is 143.604. The high of this is 133.604. I guess it was mitigated, the high, but the 50% definitely wasn't. So coming into this area, it was worth seeing what would happen during this key 8:30 time frame. So we're going to jump down to the 1 minute and we're going to come in. So this was a 30-minute PBE trade. We see all this liquidity in here. It comes in and grabs it. There was this trade which wasn't taken, but ideally could have been just right at that 50% of the POI. Price came in, tapped it, a nice 6R after that. This trade though, the main one I took, the 1 to 8, 1 to 10, was basically, it came down into this area and started to reject rather aggressively. We had this aggressive tap, price decides to come back down, and we see this reversal, some kind of retracement, a push higher, retracement, push higher. So what I was seeing in this was simply that other correlated assets were rallying off here in this area because we already had CAD JPY shooting up, right? Because it tapped it last night and it was retraced and was shooting up during this time. And I believe it was NZD USD. Yeah, I was watching this at the same time. Maybe not. Yeah, right in here. And that also tapped a 30-minute point of interest and was rallying aggressively. So my assumption was JPY bearish overall, and it seemed like a general risk on theme. So I had a gut feeling it would go higher, but Also seeing that this was unmitigated, and the fact that it came in here, took this liquidity and reversed aggressively like this, an engulfing candle takes the manipulation and reverses. I thought this is likely, combining all those factors, this is likely just a manipulation and reversal. So when I came in here and I saw these aggressive moves away, I decided to enter off of this area, this microstructure, because we had this push higher, this aggressive wick up, right? So I entered off of that, off this little retracement here, because I assumed that this would not retrace. I had a limit for safety. I had a limit down here. I believe it was right here. I had a limit set live, right about there, or here, or something like that, in case it were to retrace down and then come back up, because obviously you have this break, retracement, higher high, or if it were to just retrace and come back down. And I figured it wouldn't, so I entered off here with a safety of having one down here. And thankfully, this one just shot off and just completely took off, giving us that nice eventual almost 1 to 13, 1 to 12.5 about. It went well over that. I should have targeted this area. I'll get to that in a second. So, seeing this, I was targeting this area as my first major TP1 right here, because this was the last swing, the last major, we're getting into management here now, the last major supply area sponsoring that lower low push, and it had imbalance and was unmitigated. So I took profit just below this level, just in case that price would come back down, because we did have that unmitigated zone. And looking back at it now, if it did come back, then this would likely go through because I already manipulated. And look, I didn't even notice this story now. There's this key area refined inside this 30-minute area. So not only is it lining up exactly with the 50% of that 30-minute higher high sponsor area, but it's this unmitigated area that's with order flow. It basically filled this imbalance, although it didn't completely clear it. It cleared it enough that you could say that was filled. And then it was order flow, so it tapped this high demand area and pushed off strongly. This was that very strong sponsor area, that very strong demand area that price tapped into, taking all this liquidity, taps into this demand area, a classic reaccumulation, right? Although this is kind of messy, you would have, your high, your creek, your jump across the creek, entry, although we didn't get a retracement. So this was just a reaccumulation after it broke this level. And what I decided to do was target this level. Like I said, target this level first. It broke it. So then I knew that something around, if it were to close below this swing or this swing, then it would be all over. So stop. I set my stop to here, but it wasn't a hard stop. It was more of a, if we close below here, then I do a manual stop. But we never really closed below there. And in all honesty, if I wanted to leave it, I could have just set it down here. And then after seeing that manipulation higher, right, taking out these levels and created liquidity right here, I had the assumption that price would at least spike up and take this level. And I believe that was the final, slightly above. This was one of the finals, but watching the price action, I figured it would move up higher than this, and it did. So I took final profit somewhere up in here, just because I reached that about 10 area and price wasn't slowing down, so I just took it there. But doing the measured move afterwards, this would have been the good area, and the measured move from here to the entry would have been here, and with the aggressive resistance right about there, I could have just targeted this 1 hour point of interest range extreme looking back at it. But so continuing with management, that would have been it with the trade. But what I could have done and what I should have done is stayed in it, kept my stop loss where it was, down here, well below this. And what we formed here was another 30-minute point of interest that sponsored a higher high. And what I should have watched was, okay, taken more profit, left some runners on to go all the way higher, maybe taking like 80% up here and then, or 90% up here and left 10% on just to run. And watch how it retraces to this 30-minute area sponsoring the higher high, right? And what skeeved me out was this was a relatively weak higher high, but it did close above all this stuff, so you could have just waited, left a small position on, saw what happened here to try to hold it, and then get that 1 to 15, almost 1 to 16 out of this trade, which would have been worth it for even a 10% position. That would have been a significant additional funds added. So watching that, it came down, slowed down into it exactly what we like to see, tapped it, reversed, and aggressively went off. This would be where you would just set your TP up here or up here, and just forget about it. Walk away, set your stop loss below this level or below here, and then just walk away. So that was that trade. That's pretty much everything you need to know about this trade, documenting it fully. Some other things I was looking at in New York session, obviously, because I've been trading the CADs, the CAD JPY and the NZD JPY in Asia before that. The night before, I was looking to kind of trade those possibly, but CAD didn't really give me much of anything. I guess there was this, but it was already tapped. I didn't like it. Just how it was developing. It had already shot off. So I was looking at possibly an entry in here. After this push up and retrace and enter, but it would have worked out but it didn't come down that low. NZD JPY. We were seeing this. Is that even a 4 hour? Yeah, kinda. It was a 1 hour POI / 4 hour, but it never made a real higher high. It only, made a higher high here, so I was looking to enter somewhere in here, but it wasn't the strongest because it didn't break this, but it was strong enough to look for an entry. So when I woke up, I saw this had already tapped it, moved away. Let me check quickly. I'm pretty sure I did see something I really liked in here. Yeah, so I saw it tap this area. I woke up at 8 o'clock. So I saw it tap this area, break structure, retrace, or bigger time frame, break structure, retrace. Yeah. So it broke this, retraced, broke this, right? You're changing character and then your break of structure. I set a limit right here, which it did spike into, very frustratingly, on my execution platform, but somehow didn't trigger me in, whatever. But you could see just how close I came, and that would have been an amazing trade as well that I missed by just a hair, and that too would have been a 1 to 10. But that sadly did not come into fruition. So I saw price make a higher high here, looking at the sponsor area, just kind of following structure. So we have this break, this changing character, break of structure, secondary break of structure, and I was looking to enter off that here. It went through it, but I set another lower entry right here that it tapped into and moved away, and that was a good entry, but unfortunately it moved away, and that would have been a break even here and here, but eventually it did go in my direction, but my rules would have said break that even just to be safe. And then maybe if I watched how it came in, right, but I would have probably just broke it even, to be honest with you. And if you missed that, there was a V3 when price came in, tapped this area, broke above this structure, retraced, changing character, break of structure. And it was a weak changing character, but it was a solid break of structure. And I think there's even a secondary entry, maybe not, maybe I'm wrong, right in here. Actually, yeah, there is right here. You could have entered break of structure, thought this was the changing character, this whole swing, right? Something like this, retracement, higher high. So then you could have waited for it to retrace to this sponsor area, or even this area. You would have had a decent trade off of it, but that was in that was an Asia session after that. So yeah, that was December 8th New York session, what I was looking at, how I traded it, and basically just how I was able to make some nice trades out of that area. Wow, that really did blast higher. Yeah. So you can see how these 4-hour PBEs are just so powerful. I mean, you've gotten something here, something in here, you're catching 95 pips. It's pretty decent. So, alright, with that, I'm going to end it.